what about those roles that are not arse funding, such as clinical directors, PCN managers? What's the situation to think about there?
Yeah, really good point. And it's a different challenge to the R's funded roles because obviously you've got people potentially directly employed and clinical directors. It may be almost on a subcontract basis with practices. But if I take the role, sort of management role that PCNs are taking on, which is becoming more and more common and a reflection of the actual specialist nature of managing a PCN. Those people will have a contract of employment. So first and foremost, on a personal level, what sick pay arrangements have you got, and on a personal financial planning, anybody employed by the PCN, just check what arrangements that you've got in place. But from the PCN point of view, there's a finite amount of funding available for paying for management teams, etc. So actually, the contingency planning is as essential and for these roles as any of the R's funded roles. And it's actually saying, look, if we've chosen to take this role on and pay and use our funding to employ this person, what's our contingency plan if that person isn't able to work long term, absent? Um, how do we replace that within the network? Who's responsible for taking it on there? You mentioned earlier about the understanding where the employment structure is. Often with the PCN ones, it will be directly through a PCN or a federation that they've merged together. But what sick pay arrangements, what funding, and if we have to get somebody in, whether that's from within the network or externally, what costs are involved with doing that, and who's responsible for paying them? Because the PCN has no additional funding, will it fall to the network? Do the practices within the network recognise and understand that that's something that they might have to contribute towards? So it's about having those conversations. It's about getting the right conversation with your colleagues across the network about what are our plans for specific roles that we might employ. Our specialist financial advisors again will be able to help with actually with those conversations and making you aware of some of the solutions that might be available to protect those